we really like to spend a lot of time with a style and feel like we can do it justice. And we really understand why we're going to do what we're going to do with that given style of beer before we actually want to, kind of come out with one.
That was Todd from Rustic Brewing Company on this week's episode of Brew Roots.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Brew Roots. I am Matt, and joined with me today is my awesome co-host, Erica, and sound guy Ryan.
What's going on?
Dun, dun, dun.
It's been great to see you guys because I saw you on Saturday evening last week, and we had an awesome socially distant fire.
Yeah. No, it was a solid time.
Yeah.
Good beers. We had s'mores. That was pretty cool.
Did, and we had barbecue.
That barbecue was amazing.
Straight up shout out to Goody Cole's up in New Hampshire. If you guys haven't been to Goody Cole's, and they're not even sponsoring this episode, definitely suggest you go in there because the ribs and the pulled pork and the brisket.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
And definitely barbecue and beer is probably one of my favorite go-tos.
Yeah.
So add a fire to that and some cool-ass peeps, and it's pretty sweet.
And we were really lucky because, in my opinion, this is the best season for beer.
Oh, definitely.
Because we were getting all those fest beers.
Yeah, so we had the Wormtown Fest beer.
Yeah, we did.
That was pretty good.
And we also had the Sylvaticus 3-year anniversary.
I didn't have that.
You didn't?
Maybe it was gone by the time I got there.
It must have been gone by the time you got there.
Yeah.
But speaking of amazing pilsners and lagers, our guest last week, Schilling.
Amazing pilsners and lagers.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone that listened because without you guys out there, seriously,
not be any of us.
We're just talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking to ourselves. So we do appreciate that. But we have another episode that's really, really on target this week. Who is it?
We got Rustic Brewing.
That's right.
Do-do-do.
I'm very excited for this one because I just recently drank one of the Rustic beers that I took home the other time that we were there because I did not drink any at Rustic because I had a rough day.
Oh, yeah.
I started drinking very early.
That was a long day for sure.
And it was one of the hottest days of the summer.
It was very hot. Yeah, I do remember that.
And their space is not AC'd, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it was an old mill building.
Yeah.
Down
Bottom
in the
floor.
basement.
Yeah.
It was hot.
And of course, we want it to be quiet, you know, for the interview. Yep. So we had
no fans.
Everything down.
Yeah, we had everything off.
That was rough.
That's what we do for you.
Yeah.
That's what we do for our listeners.
So appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 5 minutes in, my face was just sweating. I was wiping my forehead constantly. It was miserable.
Yeah.
But again, it was worth it.
Yeah. So speaking of fest beers, I know we touched upon that lightly. Our friends over at the Mass Brew Bros shared a blog on Wednesday about
Oktober Fest.
Yeah. Oktober Fest. So there's no secret. COVID-19 is probably put a...
it's still here, and it's put a damper on everything.
Yeah, but some of our brewery friends are still doing things. I know Ryan and I went to the Sylvaticus one. I just went and picked up my glass, but you actually partook in it.
I did, yeah. No, it was really cool. They're very busy. I waited an hour 15 to get a table.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just got some food and went over to the craft beer cellar, which is something new now. It's not the craft beer cellar anymore, but it's the same building. And then I got a text message saying that my table was ready. And I had a lot of fun. I had the Vienna Lager, Oktober Fest, and then I think their Why Not as well.
Yeah.
So
nice. Because why not?
Because why not? So as many of you guys know, Oktober Fest starts September 19th and ends October 4th. So make sure to check out the link below for the Mass Brew Bros article on where to go for some Oktoberfest things going on.
Yeah, some are virtual, some are in person.
That's
so
right.
Check them out. Participate in as many as you can.
And I know that I went to Remnants last year, and Remnants doing one this year, so I'm probably going to go to that one.
Oh, yeah, I remember going to that. That was crazy. That was just
crazy,
there was a lot of people there.
Yeah. There probably won't be a lot of people there this year, or there will be. It'll just be spaced out.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do a dinner with the tables outside or something. Yeah.
Well, without further ado, here's our episode with Rustic Brewing Company. Take it away. Cheers.
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 Hey, everyone. We are on our final brewery of our day. And you guys haven't heard these episodes in succession, so we're keeping the energy at a 10,
At least. Maybe even a 12.
maybe even 14.
It goes
Why
to
not?
11.
It only goes to
Oh,
11. You're right,
jeez.
Ryan.
All right,
Yeah, you're right,
fine.
Ryan.
I know.
But we had a great time at the other breweries that we're at, and honestly, we came into today thinking, wow, the Western Mass beer scene is...
We
We
didn't know what to
much about
expect.
it. We were like, oh, what's up with the Western Mass beer scene? Like, we didn't know what was going on. And
we know a lot more now than we did before.
Yeah, and I'm excited to come back.
Real
I
impressed.
really am.
Yeah.
And we kind of saved the best for last.
Yes.
So we are still in
Definitely.
Springfield. But we're in a borough of Springfield.
Borough.
A borough.
A borough.
And we're here at Rustic Brewing Company with Todd. How are you today?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Fabulous.
That's good to hear. I would have hated to hear that you were awful, so this is really good.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And we're excited to be here. Admittedly, I've not had your beer, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. So very excited to A, try it, and B, get to know you and the brewery that you're at. We start every podcast by asking, what's your first memory of beer and your role at the brewery?
My first memory of beer is stealing warm Busch cans from my dad's stash that was in the basement
Yep.
My favorite.
and sneaking off into the woods and attempting to drink it. I would take about 2 sips and say that, oh, this is so gross, and pour it out. And then for some strange reason, weeks later, a month later, I do it all over again.
Now, is this...
Perfect.
I always love these stories. Was this like one of the local kids being like, oh, we got to do this? Or was it like just self-motivated?
It was self-motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your role at the brewery?
Well, there's a couple of us are partners, and we kind of do everything. So both of us brew and, come up with the recipes and can and clean and pretty much do everything.
Yeah,
So
janitor,
we try to make sure that everybody can do everything. So if somebody's not available or whatever, there's no issues, and we have everything covered.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? Is this home for you, is it Springfield? Or?
No, actually, I grew up in the eastern part of the state. I
Okay.
grew up in the Framingham,
Okay.
Natick area.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Ashland. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Busch Light moment wasn't a formative moment in your life that you said, I want to open a brewery after having warm Busch Light. So what was the original plan, and how did you deviate from that?
Well, I had homebrewed for a little while, back in, I'd say, the mid-'90s. And then with just life and everything, kind of got away from it. And then our friends, a few of us, we play hockey together, and we would go out and have beers afterwards. And, kind of in this resurgence of the craft beer world a couple years ago, we were, just kept talking about it and sharing stories about how he used to homebrew, I used to homebrew, and kept saying, oh, we should get together and do something. We should brew our own beer, so forth. And we originally just got started with that. Essentially, we got, kegerators and kegs and stuff, and the plan was just to, have beer at our own houses for our friends when they came over
Yeah.
and
That's kind of
hung
like
out.
the dream, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that never actually happened. I don't think I ever ended up bringing a single keg to my house because we made the either the great decision or the mistake, whichever way you want to look at it, of entering homebrew competitions and then going to beer festivals that would have a home brewing component to them, and just kind of took off from there. And we eventually were like, well, we're making a lot of beer every single month, brewing once a week, and trying to make as much as we can and getting it out into the hands of people and so forth. And we're like, it's getting a little expensive. Like, maybe we can find a small space that we could kind of turn this into a hobby that pays for itself, so to speak. With the goal that, eventually we were looking at maybe like a 3 to 5 year plan where, we could maybe fulfill that dream of, this just being our full-time gig, our full-time jobs, and just do the brewery 100%. So
Yeah. Is this now your full-time job, or?
no, we all still have our day jobs.
Yep.
Actually, Jared and I are just starting kind of like this week. We're going to 4-day work week, so we'll be dedicating a full day here. So
Wow.
Nice.
kind of starting that transition
Yeah.
to, to ease towards, getting
Yeah.
here full time.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is
Baby
probably more
steps.
work than your daytime job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends up, between, for both of us, probably at least, an additional 20 to 30 hours a week of work
Yeah.
right now that we're putting in,
Yeah.
but, it's, you got to do that. That's
Right.
what you
It's
a
have to
grind,
do
yeah.
to get where you want to go. So we're, still excited about it and, still willing to do it. So
That's awesome.
How long has Rustic been around?
we opened in November of 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Cool.
Yep, so not even 2 full years
Yeah.
yet. Yeah.
And who knows what 2 years is going to look like in November for you guys. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember the conversation you had between your partners when it was kind of like, for lack of a better term, like piss or get off the pot kind of situation?
No, it was just sort of like we kept kind of taking steps, and we were like, well, if we get through this step, we'll move on to the next step, and if we get through the next step, we'll move on to the next step, and then we just kind of kept going, and we found this spot here which was conducive, financially to what we were trying to do, and we could get off the ground with a reasonable investment on everybody's part, and Jared, my business partner, Jared, works in construction for his day job, so he was instrumental in,
Of course, yeah.
doing a lot of the work here and getting this place kind of built out to what we needed and what we have, and so we just kind of kept putting one foot in front of the other, and that's kind of what we continue to do
Yeah.
today. We just sort of take everything as we have a goal, we have plans, we look and see like where we want to go, but we just kind of like take each step as it kind of comes and makes itself available.
Yeah.
The name Rustic, I am shocked that name was not taken.
There's some iterations of it from
Okay.
some small places around the country,
Yeah.
but not just sort of straight up rustic.
Yeah.
And a couple of the places that have the sort of like it's more in their tagline than it is their name per
Gotcha.
se. So so far we're kind of okay.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from exactly? Or
Well, it was just kind of, thinking about how long beer has been brewed for, and how it's just such an ancient craft and an art, and just, even today, people are still, not really reinventing, but still finding new ways to push the boundaries and to, really just do things with something that's been around for so long, and it never seems to get
Yeah.
stagnant or stale or anything like that. So, it was kind of like looking at it like paying homage to, that history, but then, what we want to do for, moving it into the future.
What type of brewer are you? What styles do you like to brew? And what was kind of like the first brew that you made?
When we started, we were really into the IPAs. I was not into the New England style IPAs for quite a while. All my friends were. I was more of the West Coast, the higher the IBUs, the better, things like that. But then they kept, that's what they had, and I kept drinking more and more of them, and kind of came around and sort of fell in love with that style. So that's sort of what we started off on. For when we were brewing originally, is we kind of just focused on IPAs and things like that. And now, since then we've branched out into stouts, sours. We haven't made one commercially, but I also have a big love for brown ales. So we want to release one of those, but it's just a matter of, for us, we really want to. We really like to spend a lot of time with a style and feel like we can do it justice, and we really understand why we're going to do what we're going to do with that given style of beer before we actually want to, kind of come out with one.
Before we get too far, let's crack open a fresh beer and hear a word from our sponsors.
did you know that your favorite Massachusetts breweries use hops from a local family-owned hop farm right here in Massachusetts?
Our friends over at 4 Star Farms are there for you whether you're a commercial brewery or a small batch home brewer.
Make sure to head over to their website today and get your hands on some of the best and freshest hops available locally. Cheers.
At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, and cheese.
Not sure where to start? The knowledgeable staff at Beer and Wine Hobby are there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. To learn more about them, check out their website, www.beer-wine.com.
Don't forget to use our promo code BrewRoots for 10% off your online order today. Cheers.
Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer. So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers. And now back to Todd from Rustic Brewing.
The system that you're brewing on, how many barrel system are you in?
It's technically 2 one-barrel brew houses,
Yep.
yeah. So, so we basically do nearly 2 simultaneous brews at the same time. But we do have a 5-barrel brew house on order, so we're looking forward to
Cool.
that coming in. So
Ooh,
that will,
Congratulations.
exciting.
yeah. So that'll be expansion for, at this point, later in the fall, in early winter.
Nice.
Yeah, I can barely do one batch at a time. Never
Yeah, right.
mind
Yeah.
2. I mean, Matt
Yeah.
and I, we did our first home brew, and at the same time, like, we were trying to do a billion other things, and it was just like, how how do people do double batches and like so much shit
Patience.
at once?
Practice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's the first couple times we did it. It was chaotic, but then you start to like just get the steps down, and you just sort of have this mental checklist of like,
Right.
okay, as soon as this is done, okay, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that, and you just sort of move through it. But
How much different has it been from home brewing?
it's basically because our home brew setup is very similar to the setup we have now. It's not drastically different for us. I mean, the fermenters are bigger. Obviously, we have glycol chillers for holding temps better than what we had with home brewing and things like that. But it's very similar style. Our brew house right now is very similar style to what we were doing when we were home brewing. So the 5-barrel will be much different
Yeah,
for us. So that's
yeah.
sort of going to be our big test of
Yeah.
changing over to a bigger system and different processes.
What's the beer that you guys are most known for? Or kind of gave you a name?
I think probably Hot Blind. That was the beer that we were home brewers at the time, and the Mass Brew Brothers entered it into their competition.
Yeah,
and
2 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
and we ended up winning that blind taste test competition. So that kind of got our name out there
Yeah.
pretty significantly. Yeah.
And at that point, was it more like in tandem? You were like, well, we're opening a brewery too. Like, was that always down the pipeline?
Yeah. When we did that, we were already steps down the road towards opening. So we knew we were going in that direction for sure.
Talk about the tap space a little bit. I understand that you guys are on a what's the license called that you
A farmer's brew license.
Yeah, farmer's brew license. So you have to go to the town to ask for single day permits.
Yeah. Pour permits. Yeah.
Pour license. Yeah. But talk about the tap space. It's beautiful in here. You guys did an awesome job.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah. We
Great little rustic nook.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we wanted to, keep with the name, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had a kind of a running joke when we were building it out. If something didn't quite come out right, or was giving us a hassle, whatever, we'd just be like, "All right, it's rustic." So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we tried to make it like a nice, cool spot to hang out. We knew that we wanted to eventually have a full-time tap room, but it's just a matter of kind of producing enough beer. I think when we get on the 5-barrel system, obviously the stuff with COVID and so forth will dictate when and how all that stuff kind of happens for us anyways, not having, a food space here, which is part of the requirements right now for most places. But
it'll change next week. Don't worry.
Yeah,
exactly.
But down the road when we get the 5-barrel brew house, that'll be something that we'll be able to kind of get more serious about, and look towards making that more full time than just single pour day licenses once a month like we had been doing pre-COVID.
Yeah.
COVID is the elephant in the room. How would it impact your business and your plans?
Fortunately, not too much. I mean,
you were the first brewer to tell us that, so yeah.
Well, I mean, because we were really small to begin with, and we kind of kept everything at a level where we hadn't made the jump that a lot of breweries had made, where they were
open for business.
Yeah, they had the full-time tap rooms and relied on that and so forth. We were kind of really relying only on our to-go beer was really the only thing. So the transition for us was not being able to sell that here, but fortunately we partnered up with a bunch of local craft beer stores, and they were more than willing to take it in and sell it. And, so we've been doing that, since that point.
Nice.
That actually kind of springboarded into, we were 2 barrels a week at that point, and then we added another brew day over the weekend to be 4 barrels, because being in the stores, we reached a whole new market, and really increased the demand, and the stores are like, we'll take whatever you can get us. So that was a good thing.
With having that more personal brew space before COVID, people are able to give you feedback in the moment and kind of tell you this is what you like. Now you're kind of relying on a distributor, and you're not as much face-to-face. How do you know what's working and what's not working? Are you looking at Untappd, Beer Advocate, or are you relying on the distributors to kind of give you that data as well? Or the craft beer seller places too?
We kind of keep an eye out on like what people post on their their social media, if what their thoughts are on it. We do keep an eye on Untappd. We're not on Beer Advocate for some reason, I don't know.
That's fine.
But we don't show up there, but that's okay. So but we do kind of keep an eye on that, and try to see what's going on. Most of the things that we've been doing since we switched over to just being in the stores are all recipes that we've been doing for a long time. So,
staples.
Yeah. So we just try to make sure that, we're kind of being consistent out the door, and, we've had a couple batches that we didn't actually even release because we were like, this one's just not quite right. So, and being small, fortunately, we can do that,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, where are you located? Like, what liquor stores are you, or beer stores are you located at? Yeah.
So there's 2 in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, Lighthouse Liquors and the Beer Shop, and then in Palmer, Luke's Convenience in Palmer, Mass, and then Spirited, which is out in Lenox, Mass. That's in the Berkshires.
Yeah.
Nice.
So good representation of the area, so you can get the beer.
Yeah.
What's it been like making that kind of, like, you're almost forced, someone forced your hand to get the, what was it like? Were you ready at that point, or was it?
We had purchased a canning line, and we were, had the plans to do it. It was just more that it, basically sped up the process, to get there. Kind of, like you said, it sort of forced our hand to do something that we probably should have done a couple months before that, because we had it for a while, and it was always one of those, we're keeping up with production, we're doing the sales days here and so forth. So, kind of that, when we weren't doing the sales days here anymore, it opened up time and hours where you say, oh, well, we used to have, this block of hours we were here doing sales. Now I have that time, so let's work on this project. Let's work on that project. So,
do you envision this space being open, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that business model?
Yeah, that's what we hope for. Yeah. When we can have enough beer and variety to support the tap room and production going, we definitely want to do that for sure.
6 lines.
Yes.
What can a typical lineup look like here on one of those days?
Right now, when we're doing the monthly pour days, we would usually have at least one stout. We would have a variety of IPAs. We also do milkshake IPAs, so we would probably have one of those in the mix and a sour.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And you guys are kettle souring?
Yes.
Yep. Fruited as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Nice little variety.
Yeah, for
Anyways,
sure.
with that. Yeah.
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 We definitely want to continue to expand into, as we kind of talked about earlier, other styles and things like that. But it's just, a matter of, the time.
When you get there.
Yeah, being able to get there for sure.
Right. So what is your next immediate step, I guess, that you're working towards?
The next immediate step is getting that 5-barrel brew house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
kinda-
Dialed in?
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
that down, getting that dialed in. And then the other step is we do, for to go, we now can, with cans, we can do to go sales from here again.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Because you're doing the distribution a little bit.
yeah. So what we want to do is bring some of that sales back in here because we know,
Yeah.
kind of like what we talked about. People like that in-person interaction, and we like that too.
For
and
sure.
that, that feedback. And
You can control your product a little bit more too.
yeah, exactly. So we do want to get back towards that of, having some sales done from here, and then, also, keep up with the channels because we won't be able to have as many sales days. And the schedule won't always be convenient for everyone. So if we have a couple options for, after we've sold from here, placing some stuff in stores, then people that can't make it for here will have an option to get some beer, at the stores.
Yeah.
Popular, you'll see it everywhere, is seltzers. How do you feel about seltzers? Would you guys ever make one? Hard seltzers.
I don't really drink them myself. I mean, I've had them from time to time, and it's like I don't mind it, but and potentially, I
Never
mean,
say no.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about it, like
Yeah.
well, we kind of go into doing that. I mean, when you have a canning line and you have equipment, it's kind of
Right.
like, yeah, we could maybe do that. So, but right now, I think for us, we're trying to get keep the beer thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
going. So
It's-
we like to, we like to try to stay, be good at something before we, move on to the next thing
Right.
or
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah.
Particular style that you drink at home, or what's in your fridge?
And my fridge right now is pale ale, porter, and IPAs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I had sours up till last night, but we drank them when we were brewing here.
Yeah.
So I brought them from home and we had them.
Nice.
Any
nice.
breweries in particular you
All your own
Yeah.
stuff, or
No, we obviously have some of my own stuff. I have actually Gilded Skull.
Yeah, Neil, what's up? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Shout out to our friend
Water
Neil.
snakes.
Yeah.
You get that one?
So good.
Or Gilded Empire.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I have
Yeah.
Green
it was
can
my
or black?
it
or black and
was
gold?
black with green on it.
Yeah, water.
That's
Water
snakes.
snakes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, it was my first time getting it. So usually what ends up happening is when I deliver to Luke's Convenience in Palmer, I usually leave with some semblance of almost as much beer as I brought.
Yep.
So I call it market research.
Exactly.
that's-
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So no, there's so many breweries in Massachusetts
Yeah.
that are great. I mean, Exhibit A, Vanish Valley,
Yep.
2
Yep.
weeks notice.
And that's where you grew up. I mean, Exhibit A. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Matt's actually from around here,
Yep.
so he's
Nice.
awesome guy. He's helped us out, answered questions for us when we ran into
Very cool.
him, and supported us.
Isn't that
So,
awesome that this community does that? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I mean, I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's just so many.
Yeah.
That I usually try to like spread it around and try new things, and then grab some stuff that is standby favorites and things like that.
Definitely. Do you have I don't know, you probably haven't done any collabs yet, I guess, but do you have any dream collabs that you'd want to do?
We actually did one collab.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, cool. Great.
Well, actually, shouldn't say we did two. Actually, we did a very small collab with Loophole when they were just getting going.
Yep.
Okay.
With
And they're kind of still just getting going too, right?
yeah. So we know John. He
Yep.
was a former brewer at Amherst Brewing Company, so we kind of know him from
Nice.
his Amherst days, and fun guy to hang out with. So we had done a collab with him when they were just kind of getting started. and we did a collab with 2 weeks notice.
Okay.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yep. So when we're in the talks now to do some collabs with some other folks, Great Awakening.
Nice.
We know Mark really well from there. He's
Yeah.
awesome guy. We have a lot of fun when we hang out. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
makes sense to do a
Yeah.
collab. So we're kind of trying to get that in the works. Somebody actually tagged us in a post. Gilded Skulls looking for breweries to collab with, and they tagged us, and I was like, well,
All right.
sounds
You should definitely talk to Neil because he's a cool guy and
Yeah.
brewing at Castle. He brews at Castle Island. So
oh, okay.
yeah, so he's
Yeah.
doing some pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
But did you have like a dream collab?
I don't.
It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
I'm sorry. I asked the tough questions. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think the collabs are. I think a lot of times it's more about hanging out with the people, and having fun with them sometimes than it is about what you obviously want a good beer at the end, and you want to have fun making it. That's kind of the main thing. So it's usually like, just people you love to hang out with or that you have a lot of fun with. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Great conversation so far, but we'll be right back from a quick break.
This week's episode would not be possible without our amazing sponsor, Shirts on Tap.
Each month, they team up with breweries from across the country and create a custom shirt and deliver it to your doorstep, along with stickers and coupons.
Sign up today using the promo code BrewRoots for $5 off your first box.
Head on over to shirtsontap.com today. And remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts.
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brute sent you. And now back onto the episode.
Guilty pleasure beer is it still Busch?
No.
And,
No. I guess I would call it my guilty pleasure that my buddies make fun of me for is Newcastle Brown Ale.
what? That's a good beer. That's
that's
fine.
a great
Yeah, that's
go-to.
clear bottle, whatever.
Yeah, my story with that goes back to the days of the Middle East downstairs going to see shows.
Oh, yeah,
The Middle East,
They
yes.
that's what they had.
Yep.
And, you had either Sam Adams or Newcastle Brown Ale. And,
Yep.
So
Those are the
and I kind of
days.
fell in love with it, hanging out there, watching shows, and yeah.
Yeah. If you could describe the Western Mass beer scene in a couple sentences, what would you describe it as?
Wow. Like family.
Cool.
Yeah, we all.
cool.
I mean, we all.
We've
that
heard-
wasn't really a sentence. That was kind of one word.
That's all right. That's all right.
But it's but it is really like a family situation. I mean, we all know each other. We all
Respect each other.
respect each other. We all support each other. If we all when we have poor days, guys from the other breweries will walk through at some point, hang out with us for a while, have some beers. We go to their places, hang out, have
Yeah.
beers.
That's
so
awesome. Yeah.
It's a good kind of
yeah,
synergy.
yeah. I mean, people are find themselves in a pinch. There's no shortage of people that you reach out to. You reach out to a few different local brewers, and you'll get responses from all of them. Like, oh yeah, we got something, we got that, or I could do this, or we could do that. So always helping each other out, things
Yeah.
like that. So it's
There's
really
no other
it's
industry
really cool.
like that.
Yeah.
Ryan, you got your
Yeah. What do you want to learn more about in the brewing process?
Well, yeast is probably the big thing. I mean,
Yeast is crazy.
We
It's,
get
it's
that a
just
lot,
magic.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
yeah. I'd love to have more of a lab situation where I can
Yeah.
really kind of dig into that
Study
and study it. And we kind of have our sort of house yeast, so to speak, that we kind of propagate and keep going and things like that. But I would love to get more into that and more in depth behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
What do you want to learn more about owning a business?
Kind of everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the side that it's you're kind of, I won't say it's a rude awakening, but you're kind of like constantly just kind of slapped in the face with the business side of things, because you're like, well, I got into this to make beer and to have fun and to, and
And then he realizes it's a business.
right, and then there's all that other side of things of like, oh, we really got to stay on top of this, and we really should be doing that, and we have a lot of goals as far as like being a better business. I'm using my air quotes. People can't see, but a business.
This is an audio only
I
podcast.
know. And you guys told me that at the beginning too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because, as a consumer, you need certain things. You want certain, in order to support a business, they have to, kind of provide certain things that make it easy for you to, to support them. So that's kind of one of my goals, is to, get to the point where we kind of have more consistent, with that, where, we kind of focus on making the beer and getting it out there. And then it's kind of like, okay, sigh of relief for a day or two. And then it's like, okay, now we're back to making the beer and getting it out there. So,
Right.
But in the interim, like just informing people more of what's going on and just being a little bit more engaged, I think, even through social media, versus more than just sort of like, hey, here's the beer for the week, and that's that. That's one of my goals anyways.
Social media is it's a constant thing
Oh,
that
yeah.
we like just are challenged with it. It's
such a-
insane.
Yeah. I have immense respect for the people that I see all the time that are just
On top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it just comes easy to them, and if so, that's awesome for them, or if they're,
It's
they
a
might,
full-time
they
job,
might just be
man.
really
You're
working
working
at it.
2 jobs too to do that. So that's like,
Yeah.
are you enjoying the ride right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep.
Yeah. I saw you light up when you said you were going to 4 days a week. So it's,
Yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely something that even doing it in addition to the day job,
you look
you
forward
would,
to it.
yeah, you would think you might get a little burnt out and, lose your passion for it, which, you have your bad days, obviously, but, for the most part, it's like, there's just too many of the good days where you're just enjoying what you're doing and, enjoying it. I think with COVID, I think a lot of brewers probably feeling the same way, like you said, with that, you losing some of that personal interaction. You lose the beer fest, which were things that you got
Right.
excited about,
Right.
which was, seeing your audience and being able to spend time with them and things like that. But, still very excited though.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
When you're brewing, do you guys listen to music?
Yes, we do.
Any genre in particular, or
band in particular.
Let's see. Jared has very diverse tastes, so he likes everything all over the map. I'm more of kind of like your, indie rock.
Yeah.
I'm really into quite a bit of bands from Philly right now. Menzingers,
Oh, cool.
Restorations.
Yeah.
Then there's the guys from Minnesota, Tiny Moving Parts. I
Yeah.
kind of really love them. So usually if I'm on the playlist, it's stuff like that.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, the Menzingers are awesome. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am pretty cool with all the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed all these questions.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bing, bam, boom.
Yeah. So we want people to find your beer, and we want people to engage with you on social media. And when this location opens up for the public to come again, hopefully soon, knock on wood.
Yes.
Where are you located on all of those avenues, and where can people? I know people you mentioned the
The liquor stores,
liquor
right?
stores,
but I guess
but-
where physically and then social
Yeah.
media wise.
We're at 34 Front Street in Indian Orchard, Mass. Physically.
Yes.
That's
Right
the
at the
location.
Indian
Yeah.
Orchard,
Yes.
which is a borough,
A borough
of Springfield. Yes.
Yeah, and we're in the stores that we mentioned for right now. Social media is all under Rustic Brewing Company.
Yep.
So
Cool.
yeah, so they can find us there. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So
Yep.
and everything that we post, kind of we do the whole simultaneous
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, we get that.
yeah.
Nice.
So,
Cool.
mhm.
And I guess the last
Our
question
last
for the
question.
day.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a good one.
What are you most proud of?
Yikes.
It could be anything.
Just making it this far so far.
Yep. That's something
That's
definitely to be proud of.
definitely- yeah.
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 I mean, just kind of in a year, a little over a year and a half, not even 2 years, kind of going from 1 barrel a week up to 4 barrels a week. And
That's huge.
Ordering our new brew house and, looking towards 5 to 10 barrels a week by the end of,
That's going to be so awesome.
yeah, pretty much by the beginning of
Yeah.
our second year of being open. So, we're pretty proud of that and excited that, we're, kind of took it real small to begin with, and it's grown.
Not to mention, all three of you are still friends,
Yeah.
I assume,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And you're still doing
That's
this.
important to
and
maintain. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's how bands break up.
Right.
Yeah, right, exactly. It is.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's-
Well, Todd, thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
for reaching out.
Oh my
Anytime.
gosh,
So much
yeah,
fun.
yeah. We've
Anytime.
heard a
Well-
lot of really good things about you. We found out about you through the Mass Brew Bros, and
We'll be back again.
we will definitely be back.
for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure our listeners make it out to Rustic and the Western Mass beer scene, because honestly, if you're making the drive out here from the eastern part of the state, you can come out for one brewery, and that's
Why
awesome.
not
And I'm
come
sure
out
that
for
brewery
all of
will
them?
appreciate the hell out of it. But if you make a full day of it, you will not only get some good food, you'll get some fantastic beer out here, and it's not that bad of a drive.
No,
And
Easy
we had a
peasy.
lot of fun today.
exactly. We
So,
did.
Todd, thank you again.
Thank you guys.
And we will catch you, and we're going to go drink some beer. And I'm going to drink water because you got to
Woohoo.
stay hydrated. That message brought to you by us.
Exactly.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, if you made it this far, you know what that means, right, Ryan?
Yeah, maybe.
You
I mean,
get
I don't know.
Erica, you know what it means.
I think it means the outro.
That's right, and this is our world famous outro where we talk about
Outro things.
outro things. That's right. Well, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Rustic for doing this. It really means a lot to us, to just any of our
Everyone.
guests that do it. It's really appreciated. But we also appreciate when you, our listeners, tune in and share it with a friend, because believe it or not,
That's
friends will
what
probably
works.
listen.
Yeah, and we love that. And like, subscribe, review.
And
We love all that shit.
Follow our YouTube, because we're going to add some new content. Recently, somebody said they want a return of the brewers read their bad on tap reviews.
So we might do that.
We might be doing that again,
Why not?
even though it's such a pain in the ass to edit.
But it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So if you're a video editor and want some free beer, you let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Info@brewers.com. Our interview process is very, very difficult.
So
It's not.
be prepared.
So be prepared. It's a drinking contest with Sound Guy Ryan.
Let's go.
You will lose. So until next week, we have an awesome episode lined up for you. Ryan, what is it?
I don't know.
Erica, what is it?
Beats me.
Yeah, well, I know.
Not.
No, I do.
Oh.
Channel marker?
No. I don't know what it is, but that's a good idea. So maybe we'll do channel marker. Oh,
Yeah.
cool, we won't. So we'll catch you guys next week.
On the flippy side.
And
Cheers.
cheers.
We've already done it like 100 times. No.
No, I'll just.
I don't like your face. Yeah, on Brew Roots. It is. I can say on Brew Roots. On Brew Roots. On Brew Roots. Brew Roots. Brew Roots. Boo, 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 boo.